Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. Instead of the traditional big spread in 2021, our guest made different things using Christmas items over a period of time. Now, he said he was wild with it, but the money never bust the bank, and he had fun. Now, co-creator of EatAhFood, a co-founder of the Capacity Network, creative entrepreneur Quincy Ross, better known to some as QD Ross, he joins us now to hold a vibe. Welcome, sir. How you do?
Better find few scattered showers.
I know you say that this wrong, sir, because the weather's be doing little different things. But the first time after that I really say, well, this fella saying something, it was a Christmas post that you did. I just referred to it. You flipped the script on a lot of things. Now, take me through that. Thank you.
Well, I will tell you, is another case of necessity being the mother of invention. Really and truly, I did not have the desire to spend a lot of money for Christmas. That was the main driver of it. So I was looking for some ways to maximize on what we usually do, the big spread. And instead of having that big spread on one day, I thought it was much more efficient to have a little taste of everything for the entire week. I actually had for more than the week. It went on beyond. So it was a matter of taking the different items that we are accustomed to and more or less deconstructing the Christmas meal. That was the driving idea behind it all.
We're going to get a few ideas of some of those things that you would have done. But how does a mindset like that, in terms of this is what the recipe called for, but the pocket or the fridge or the cabinet not saying that. How can a mindset like that tie into supporting local with what it is we prepare, what it is we eat?
Well, definitely. I mean, part of doing that is the shopping aspect. From my perspective, what I try to do is keep the village at heart. So I start there. I started walking out by the Vegemart and seeing what I could find by the Vegemart, and then local supermarket, that kind of thing. Well, local grocery, I should say, right after that. But usually, I'll find the stuff by the Vegemart, by the butcher, and so on. And it is one, supporting the community, and two, you actually get a much better product and result from using your fresh ingredients. You get fresher ingredients, things that Vegemart and so on will have a higher turnover, but B, closer to your farm to table type of vibes, which means you're getting vegetables with more of the nutrients in it. You're getting vegetables with more of the flavor in it, or products, I should say, with more of the flavor in it. And overall, yeah, that's the thinking behind doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, some people say the further that, especially like veggies and stuff, need to go. One, you're losing stuff within that transportation, and then two, things grow in an area around by you having an idea what it is you need. Never try it out, never really test it out myself, but yes, I do support in terms of like saying, okay, we'll get it close. But can that local love go both ways though? Because it's one thing to say, okay, well, we're buying local and we're supporting this person because they're right here, the Vegemart close. But what can businesses do in terms of supporting people who are trying to support them?
Big time, I think it needs to go both ways. And a lot of times we have the conversation aiming towards the consumer saying, you support the local vendors, you support, but what can the local vendors do to support the local consumers? I think one of the things like buying within your community, it is like buying from your friends. You build a rapport, you build a conversation. So plain talk, bad manners. Sometimes we're not all together there. We mightn't really have it, especially in these times, these go-over seasons really go over in, right? So when you have a relationship with the people that you're buying from, I mean, you'll always appeal to that softer side of the business person who would say, well, here, hold this piece of ginger for free, or take an extra 2 tomatoes, things like that. And I think businesses could put that in place, try to lead with some emotion as well. But even beyond that, there was a conversation that was going on, I think, earlier this year. Badawi actually was seeing that conversation. We were talking about that concept of, buying loose, right? Which is something that people from the area that I came up in and Badawi came up in, which is more of a real accustomed to. Going to the shop and buying a piece of cheese, buying butter, buying peanut butter, buying rice, sugar, whatever, for the amount of money that you have, just the amount that you need. So you buy $3 cheese instead of the whole $25 block of cheese, I think that, quite frankly, I think that was an innovative model. I saw it help a lot of people. And I think it would be something that we should, it might be good to revisit that, revisit that concept of having things loose, having things, because it's kind of like a co-op kind of scene, is almost like more than one person buying a block of cheese and everybody getting a piece out of it, what they put in, they get out. So I think things like that might be useful, even if it have a way to scale it up, where bigger supermarkets could, have that kind of thing. Because the truth is, I said cheese, but cheese kind of still is something that we buy loose technically. The supermarket will buy the big block of cheddar and then cut it up into different sizes. It's just that this one set rather than in the small village, the shop kind of context, you ask for the actual piece. So you could ask for $5, which the supermarket wouldn't really carry $5, but probably it might be something, a model to revisit. Who knows?
And you're saying that, and you have me casting back to student life in Jamaica, where you could literally go buy 2 slices of bread out of the pack, as well as you're getting, like, you'll get oil in a plastic bag from the bottle, so you're not buying the entire bottle. But in terms of like experimenting and looking at that model, and it also harks back, validates the point where you're saying, if you're going to your tuck shop or you're going to a shop close to you, these people know you, they know your situation, and they're able to lead with empathy while still trying to make a profit. But just before we take this break, I think we have a little more time. I want to go on to capybara, no cap. In terms of, like, you recently did a post where somebody gifted you some capybara meat and you experimented a little bit and you even put some names on them, like Cappy Burger, Currybara, Cappy Pasta, and we'll even add Cappy with spinners. Be looking at the version with the dumpling, which was the friend tack showing what she did with her portion. What's the idea behind that as well?
Well, capybara, I would say straight up, capybara is probably one of the loveliest things that I ever had curried. Right? The fat of the capybara is a unique fat. It's very tasty. It is a little hardy, but it is something, and when I say hardy in terms of breaking down, but it does get very soft, very gel-like, and the flavor is remarkable. So I just happen to love capybara. From the first time I had it, I was in love with it. And, it's something that has a huge barrier towards it because it's a rodent. So, people relate it to rat, not acknowledging that rodent is a big family of animals, including things like beavers and hedgehogs and porcupines and so on. But like I was saying in that same post, it's more dramatic to say you're eating a big rat, than you're eating a big beaver. It don't sound the same, it don't give the same. But from what I remember, capybara came here, we brought some capybara here with the intention of rearing them for food. And I thought that was a good idea. I think the communication around it to address certain hang-ups that people would have was kind of poor. And well, it was a different timing too. So we couldn't see that kind of thing. But I think right now, especially the capybara population is like overrunning the place. They're almost pests right now. Actually, they are pests right now, eating the farmers' crops and so on. I feel it's a good time to revisit that as an alternative meat supply.
So we're going to look at some of those hang-ups, look at how we build community, even might talk about the friend tax again, but we do so when we return. We're speaking with Quincy Ross. Stay with us. We return with more. Welcome back. We are speaking with creative entrepreneur Quincy Ross about how we can get things that we find locally to have a little vibe, as opposed to saying, okay, well, we can do better. Making it, bringing up the value, and also looking at the impact of building community. Now, QD, in terms of having people share their creativity, their experiences, the tips and sharing the S on where it is they're getting certain things, how important is that?
Very important, very important. I mean, I think people should share. We in the social age right now, so we have the tools to share. And I would say you don't need to be, they don't need to watch other people who might be doing it professionally and say, well, I need the set of equipment and all that. A word as to where you could get something, or where you could find something, or something that you think interesting, something that you could bring to the table, just put it out there, just put it out and see. I personally I take interest in doing that. And this is why I blog, from the jump. That's why I was doing stuff, to try and encourage to change behaviors. With EatAhFood, for example, the catalyst for EatAhFood was really a friend asking how to make a macaroni pie. And both Badawi and myself, coming up in a time where we used to lime, and the foundation of our limes was we cooking. And we thought that, in those times, that was kind of unique around our age group, and amongst our friends. That was kind of unique. Not a lot of people are really cooking. So we kind of say, well, look, we couldn't do this, and it started as a thread on Trinicine. You couldn't post this and encourage people to jump in and try it out, don't be afraid. So yeah, I think everybody could take that type of approach and do their part in sharing information, encouraging each other to get on board with it, and yeah, do the thing. Now is the time.
And in terms of the sharing that information, we're going to remind again that there is the opportunity at the Sugarcane Feed Center in collaboration with the Goat and Sheep Society of Trinidad and Tobago. $50 normally, but you're getting it there under scientific or Ministry of Health and Agriculture. They're looking at the thing. You're getting for 35 and 38, so we just put that S in there. But you spoke about that blogging and sharing the information, thinking that people should share the influence of social media. But what's the significance of doing that and using it, blogging in your voice, as opposed to, one time I heard a person talking about, and you sprinkle some oregano, but you would quicker say something like, you deal with that pork belly on that crispy skin order. How important is it to you that, yes, you're sharing this, but you're using your voice?
That is a massive question, but to answer it directly, I think we need to be more proud of ourselves, I think our language especially is colorful, it is vibrant and exciting, and we should not be afraid to use it. We should speak this just as everybody else in the world will jump out and talk the talk, We have a very nice, and I'm not saying to go out there and spit a set of slangs all the time, to be appropriate. But I think there's great value in, especially when we speak into ourselves, to sound like ourselves. I think it have a lot of value in that. From the perspective of a professional marketer, there's value in me doing that to kind of preserve some authenticity, You tend to sound too polished and come across as disingenuous immediately. Again, it's all about us talking to us, we talking to we. And yeah, that's how I born and grew, that's how I do it, and that's how I will do it until.
And doing it like that, what's the importance to you of having an open mind, being able to say that, okay, well, this is what I think, but I'm also open to suggestion, somebody else trying to kind of expand your palate. I remember you did some sharing on a smokehouse, and I think many times people hear smokehouse and they think barbecue versus smoked. And the person was sharing that he had a little laugh, but you know, a little laugh could be serious sometimes. Somebody did a review and say how you get chicken to taste like smoked herring. And saying, well, opening your sense, this is what this is supposed to taste like. So treat it like this, as opposed to saying, okay, well, I want X to taste like Y. So that importance of being open while still sharing.
Yeah, well, it's a level of maturity, and I could even say culinary maturity, to open yourself up to different experiences. We come up, to use an example, we come up knowing things are going on a grill to be barbecue, and it will have that charred finish with that tomato-based sauce and that kind of, that's what we know. But I think in order to grow, I think we need to be expose ourselves to different methods and different techniques. It is important because it will add to the variety and the range of things that one could do when one gets the products to do things. So for example, last smoke thing, Trinidadians largely haven't been introduced to smoke for a very long time. It's fairly new on the market to have smoke stuff. And like I say, people judge it by the barbecue standards, but there's a different process, a different technique that needs to be appreciated. When you set your mind in a certain way, similar to how you eat with your eyes, your mental prep for something and positioning yourself to accept something in a certain way that you know could really throw off your experience, you know? So I think we need to be open to things like that. I think we need to do the work too and become educated to things like that, you know? And yeah, opening up is the way to the first step towards that education.
And then we have just over a minute more, but and yes, we get in a little fast-paced with some of the digital platforms, but it seems as though mercifully it is trending again to plant in terms of like your herbs, you're having your fig patch. What's your thoughts on that before we close?
Man, that is the greatest. That is the greatest. To date, I I always used to wonder how come my pop's food used to taste so much better than mine. You know, following everything he doing down to the letter. And then I realized one day when I was cooking up over, I realized, you know what? Picking this shadow benny, picking this thyme, picking these pimento peppers, bird peppers, right here from the garden to the pot makes a huge difference. Can't beat it at all. So that is great benefit there in taking that route or going in that direction, as well as, of course, the savings to go with it in the long run, the time and the energy you put into raising your own stuff, growing your own stuff, it will pay off, you know, financially as well. So yeah, I 100% for that.
And some people, and right there in the yard, even closer than the veggie mart, and then you growing that from jump, you literally love is an ingredient in the thing too. Huh? But we really appreciate the time that you would have shared with us, Quincy Ross, looking at things, cooking tips for the season, even beyond ways that we can do things, methodologies, scaling up some of the practices that we may have. And so we want to thank you for the work that you have been doing and continue to do. And on behalf of the TTT News team, I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth with me. Thank you so much for joining us.